Hello and welcome to Health Matters. My name is Sherry Gallant. I'm with Alberta Health Services, and today we're talking about back-to-school safety with two of our city's school resource officers, Constable Brent Brousset and Constable Kim Perchala. They are two of 6 resource officers who work within the schools all across the city, and it's something that they must see when back to school comes and people are getting organized again, all the safety infractions and things. So we're here to try to give people some information to avoid as many of those things as we possibly can. When we talk about sort of tips for school zone safety, first of all, people have to get used to going 30K again. We want to remind them about that. And then distracted driving. We talk a lot about distracted driving. Maybe you can address how it might fit into a school zone and why it would be a hazard.
Sure. Yeah, I can start with that one. I think over the summertime we get used to knowing that kids aren't in school and we don't have to observe the 30 kilometer an hour signs that are out. We want to enforce that people take their time, whether it's distracted driving or anything else, just they need to slow down when it comes to the school zones. Obviously, if you're on a phone or you're using a device or you're eating a meal on your lap, there's all kinds of different ways that you can be distracted. You're not allowed to ever drive while you're distracted. However, in a school zone, just the safety of the kids and the fact that they're, kind of running all over the place, we need to make sure that we're diligent in not using anything that's going to distract us in our vehicle.
And sometimes, not to throw parents under the bus, so to speak, but you talk about teaching kids safety, but when their parents drop them off and pick them up, their parents might not be practicing safe practices. So the kids might not have a choice. So let's talk about dropping them off and picking them up.
Sure. With all the schools in our city, we do have high congestion zones, and we obviously are aware of that. We try our best to try and monitor it. Everybody seems to be in a hurry, and everybody just wants to stop for that split second so their children can jump out of the vehicle to avoid the hassle of pulling over. That in turn causes a huge havoc and headache for not only the schools but the kids. So we really try and encourage parents that when you are dropping off your child, even leave that extra little bit early. Try and park so when your child gets out of the vehicle, they can safely walk onto the sidewalk. We have vehicles stopping in the middle of the road and waiting while their children gather their stuff. This in turn backs up traffic. Could be for a block or two. You get that one person that's in a hurry and decides that they want to drive around. That may be the chance where there's a child crossing the road. So it's very important that when you are dropping your children off, that you pull over into a legal spot, not a no parking zone either, and drop your child off.
And what about when they're picking them up? Sometimes the child might come out of the school, see mom or dad across the street, and have a tendency to bolt for the car. Yeah. What should they be telling their kids about safety when they come to pick them up?
Absolutely, to stay on the sidewalk. Eye contact is very huge. I don't think a lot of people, us as police officers, are trained that way. That when you make eye contact with the driver so that they can see you. So I think it's important to tell the kids, stay on the sidewalk until you know that they're safe to cross and that you've made eye contact either with oncoming or with the parent, just so that they do see them.
Okay. Now, at each school there's a parking lot, so let's talk a little bit about parking lot safety same thing I guess when they're picking up and dropping off, but what are the particular hazards in a parking lot?
I think the most common one is people are pulling into a spot and then they back out and they're not always watching when they're backing out safely. And when I think back to the last few years of issues we've had in parking lots, that's been the main one, is just people parents are on their way to work or they're on their way home after long days of work and they just want to pull in, get out and go. And it's like anything we've talked about so far. We just, you need to be extra careful and take that extra time to make sure that everything is safe around you. There's no kids running around. Always take that extra few seconds to even check twice on each shoulder and just make sure that nobody's around the vehicle.
Thank you both for being here. We appreciate the work that you do, and thank you all for watching.